We have finished Singapore Dimensions Math for the 4th grade, so let's talk about what we liked about it, what we didn't, and everything in between. Hi, I'm Jennifer. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. I appreciate your time. On my channel, we talk about all things homeschool, and right now, it's all about curriculum. So we are including curriculum reviews for what we have completed from 4th grade, as well as curriculum comparisons, and then we'll be doing some curriculum picks very shortly. So if these are areas that interest you, then please go ahead and click that subscribe button as well as the bell notification so that you can be notified when new videos go up. As I mentioned, we are all about curriculum. Speaking of curriculum, we have finished our 4th grade Singapore math. This is the 3rd time I'm recording this video. I think it's because I have so much to say, but I don't want it to be too long of a video. And so the other 2 times I ended up leaving out things that I decided was just too important. So let's hope that this one works. My daughter from pre-K through 3rd grade had Abeka math. Then for 4th grade, we switched her from Abeka to Singapore for a variety of reasons, mostly of which is I wanted her to understand the why things were the way they were with math, why you did what you did rather than just the memorization. If you're interested in a little bit more about this, I'll go ahead and link a video up here where I talk about us switching from Abeka to Singapore. Now, I'm just going to put it out there. It didn't go without tears, our switching it up. Going into dimensions, my daughter had a fairly high level of math confidence. And it went down. It went down for the first semester when we were in dimensions because the way it's brand new material. It was something that was new that she was not used to thinking about that why. And it was something that I was really struggling with because here you have someone who is good at math, who is confident in math, who would say that she loved math, to someone who went to I hate math. And that just was very difficult for me to hear that change. But we stuck it out, and I'm so glad that we did. So stick through the video because I'm going to talk about our journey a little bit more. Singapore has a number of versions. We chose their dimensions version. However, all Singapore math has an A and a B for each grade level. So you have your teacher's guide, A and B. Your textbook, A and B, these are both soft cover and full color. Then you have your workbook, A and B. These are soft cover, but they are black and white. And then you have your tests, A and B. Within each unit for the test, there are 2 tests to choose from within each unit. I'm not going to be spending a lot of time in this video on how Singapore works or what their pieces look like because I do have a complete flip through, so I will go ahead and link that here for the flip through for dimensions. Singapore is a mastery approach, which means you're going to cover one concept until they have considered you mastering it, and then you'll move on to another concept. Now, they do have what is called continual assessments in their tests. So here is an example of a continual assessment. This would be test B for continual assessment 1. And so it's just going back over the different concepts, and then you'll be able to see if that information has been retained, but it's not something that is hit on every lesson like it is in many other curriculum. We did need a little bit more review than what Dimensions Math provides, and so therefore I brought in some of these workbooks, multiplication facts, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and then fractions and decimals. And we used these 3 workbooks along with some free downloads that I just found on the internet to make sure that those concepts that we had studied earlier were reviewed for my daughter on a pretty consistent basis. Dimensions Math does encourage manipulatives. It is encouraged throughout in the teacher's guide. You can see for the activities, it'll tell you what you need. They do have black line masters that are available for a free download on their website. And some of the manipulatives that they mentioned within the teacher's guide are there. And then there are definitely other manipulatives that they recommend as well. I really couldn't imagine using this curriculum without manipulatives. And so in just a couple of minutes, I'm going to talk about some of our favorites. One of the concepts within Dimensions Math that my daughter was not used to is what is called a bar modeling. Now, this is something that Dimensions does introduce much earlier than 4th grade. So if she would have had this program earlier than 4th grade, then it would be something that she would be familiar with, and it wouldn't have just been dropped on her in 4th grade. But what bar modeling is basically learning how to pictorially do some algebra. And because things that I would have thought, oh, well, we need an X for, they really show you how to use those with the bar modeling and not do an X. And it's actually exactly what I wanted in that it teaches you the why. It teaches you why you are thinking about things that way and what you and how to think about certain problems. And so that was good, but it was definitely not an easy concept to pick up in 4th grade. Now, there are a couple of Singapore Facebook groups that truly helped me so much with learning about this bar modeling, as well as how to teach it. Jessica does a word problem Wednesday, and I watched so many of those, and they really helped a lot in learning how to teach bar modeling. So I will go ahead and link that Facebook group down below because it is definitely a very valuable resource. I know that she also does some videos, and I believe that she has a membership. I wasn't involved in that, but those word problem Wednesdays were very helpful. Let's talk manipulatives. Within the Dimensions program, there are so many manipulatives that are recommended, but these are some of my favorites for what we used within our 4th grade year for 4A and 4B. Most of them are going to be for 4B because that's where we hit fractions, decimals, area, perimeter, etc. So a lot of what you're going to see here are things that we used for those concepts. For fractions, we absolutely loved this fraction segments. They're magnetic, and you go from 1 whole up to 1/12. You have 2 of these magnetic pieces that have the full pi there, and then you can see that you can have the various fractions, pi, that are all the same size. So here's a little video of my daughter working on these fractions, learning equivalent fractions to 1/2 that we did on the whiteboard. What are you doing?
I'm halving these fractions for some of them, then I'm trying to find a match for the other half. So I'm halving.
So what are those? Tell me what those, the ones you just, the gold and the blue ones, what are those?
It's 5. So this is 5/10 and this is 3/6.
And what are both of those equivalent to?
1/2.
Okay. So what else? Can you do any of the other ones?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So I have 2/4 and 3/6. Okay. And that's equivalent to 1/2.
Okay. So what you looks like you have one that doesn't have everything, doesn't have another half. Where's the one?
Oh, this one?
Uh-huh.
This would be.
Can you take that? What are you looking at now? What's that?
That won't work.
Why won't that work?
Because it does not 2 does not go into it.
Into what number?
9.
And 9 is considered, is it your numerator or your denominator?
That would be considered your denominator.
Yeah, so since it's not even, you can't do it exactly in half, right? Mm-hmm. Good job. This was a great addition. I'm not sure how fractions would have gone if we hadn't had this. When we first started talking about area and perimeter, we did use these cubes in order to be able to learn about the area as well as the perimeter. This was something that I had on hand. You can use quite a few different manipulatives, but for area and perimeter, this was something that was an easy thing to use since they are all identical in size. For decimals, I do have 3 manipulatives that we use for decimals, and the reason I brought in so many is because my daughter had a very hard time with place value. She could from the beginning of 4th grade, she could understand that if you had like 3,243, that the 3 was in the thousands place, the 2 was in the hundreds place, etc. But it was truly learning that there are 30 hundreds in that 3,000 that was the concept that we had to work on a lot. So when it came to decimals, I wanted her to get a really nice grasp of it because I knew that place value was something that could possibly derail us, and I didn't want to do that. And so the first thing that we had when we introduced decimals was this, which was great because you can flip this up through 9, and then you can say, hey, that's 10, and so then you just flip over to this. And so she actually kept this in her area, and it was something that she referred to all the time, and it helped so much in learning decimals. The second thing that she really enjoyed as a manipulative were these magnetic decimal discs. And we had discs before for place value, and they weren't magnetic. And for whatever reason, the magnetic ones were a much bigger hit than just the regular ones. I don't know why, but she really had fun playing with these, and she grasped that concept of 10 tenths in 1, in 10 hundredths in 1/10, etc. And so the magnetic discs, those were the ones they helped so much compared to just the regular discs. I don't know. Finally, when we were using equivalency in decimals, we used these equivalency cubes. So with these, you have your 1 whole, and then you have the different sizes. So for example, this will break apart, and then you'll have 1/2 of your 1 whole. Then you can see what 1/10 is compared to 1 whole, and what 1/10 is compared. These were really nice in showing the 1/10 is less than 2/10, and then we could go from there to talk about it. But I like these, especially in when we were talking about greater than, less than, with regards to decimals, equivalency, etc. So those types of concepts, these were a great addition for that. So there's how we use dimensions math. So now let's get into the point of did we like it, and would we recommend it? Did we like it? Well, we started off in tiers. There were so many tiers that first semester because my daughter came out of Abeka with a very high math confidence. I'm good at math. I know how to do math. Math is my favorite. I really like it. And so with that confidence, I thought that she would be able to make the transition and learn the whys. But the problem is that she already thought she knew. And that in and of itself was a very hard transition for her to go to realizing that she didn't know the whys. And without knowing the whys, as you get into later math, it becomes a lot more difficult to be able to dissect those problems and know what to do. So we started out in tiers. Now, from my perspective, it was absolutely heartbreaking. It was so heartbreaking for me to watch her go from I love math to I hate math. Go from I can do math and it's one of my favorites to I don't know what I'm doing. And just tears day after day. And so that was so hard on me. If I had not been so determined for her to understand that why and have a great support system who was behind me telling me to keep plugging through, to keep doing it because in the end it will get better and she will learn it, I would have stopped because it was that difficult of a transition. Now, But I'm really glad that I didn't stop, because once we got into decimals, once we got in, I do not know how that light bulb switched from whole numbers to decimals. But when we got into decimals, she went back to being, I love math. I can do it. This is one of my favorites, that types of things. And she was, every day she was like, try to stump me, try to stump me. And so that was so exciting to me. But it wasn't without months of hard work. Now, all of that being said, I'm very thankful that we did it, because I know it was the right thing for her. So, as always, the question is, would I do it again? Yes, I would, but I strongly encourage you, if you are looking at Singapore math, if you have a child who loves math, I would switch them sooner rather than later. If you could start out in kindergarten with Singapore, that would be awesome, because they build on this thought process, the thought process of the why, rather than the thought process of the memorization. And transferring from the memorization to the why, not an easy transition. So I would encourage you, if you have children who are younger and love math, absolutely, I would recommend Singapore. If you have children who are in a later grade, like fourth grade, which is where my daughter was when I switched her, I would really think long and hard about it. I'm glad that we made that switch. It has definitely helped her. It was very hard watching her lose that math confidence and having to fight back to get it again. Again, I really liked this curriculum. I think that it is an extremely solid math curriculum. I would just recommend starting it earlier rather than later, so that you can build on those concepts, build on the bar modeling, because coming into it in fourth grade is very difficult versus starting it younger and then just learning it year by year. I hope that this video has been useful. If these are the videos that you like, then please make sure you give it a thumbs up. And we are in the process of finishing out curriculum for fourth grade and looking into fifth grade. So we are doing quite a few videos on curriculum reviews, curriculum comparisons, and we're getting ready to do some curriculum picks for fifth grade. So please make sure you hit that subscribe button as well as the bell, so that you can be notified when new videos come out. If you have any questions, please make sure you leave them in the comments below. I will definitely do my best to answer them. Really enjoy hearing from you and about how your school year is going. So if you have used Singapore or are using Singapore math, please let me know down below whether you started early or if you switched. I would be very interested to learn about your experiences. Again, I hope that you have a great day, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.